Hello everyone, hope everyone is good. Making all these videos for better understanding of mathematics. So, in this playlist, this is the first video, and this playlist is about the basics of math. Whatever I'm going to teach in this particular playlist, that is important for everyone. Whoever is preparing for any entrance exam, or let's say your board exam, your school exam, these are the very basic things you got to know. So like whatever I'm going to explain here, like this there will be other series also for your entrance exam, for your board exam, for different boards, for different grades. We'll be having different series. So if you're learning something from this, do subscribe, do share these videos, and these videos are mainly for education purpose. So if you're learning, that's enough. All right, so let's just start. Let's just start with this. So in today's class we'll be discussing about equations. So before understanding equations, there are certain things you got to understand, which is a variable, constant, and coefficients. So these are the three things you got to be thorough with when it comes to understanding equations. So before understanding equations, let's think of expressions. So over here, if you see, 2x plus 3 is equated to 7. So whenever you have an equals to sign, and on both the sides if you have values, then that's called an equation. Now if you just consider this left side part, then that's called an expression, just 2x plus 3. So if you see what exactly is done with x, 2 is multiplied with x, then 3 is added to that, and you are getting 7. Now the main issue in case of equations is, normally students they struggle to apply the rules, and you are struggling to apply the rules. That's because you are trying to remember. Now treat them as numbers, treat the variable as numbers. When you are writing 2x, this actually is 2 times x, or x is getting added twice. So when you add x twice, then it's written as 2 times x. It's as simple as that. Similarly, if I'm adding x 5 times, then that would be 5x. Alright, so it's as simple as that. Okay, so if I have 3x plus 2x, then total how many x is getting added? 5 number of x is getting added. So this will also be 5x. So just treat x as a number. So if you treat x as a number, then whatever you are the arithmetic operations, you can apply on that. So gradually we will solve different questions as well. So by the end of this lesson, you will have a knowledge, a basic idea about what are different types of equations, what are linear equations, what are quadratic equations. Those things you will be having an idea. Now variables means just the symbols, constant means this value 7, 3, these are all constants. Now when you multiply a constant with a variable, then that's called a coefficient. So let's look at the type of equations. So mainly there are 4 types of equations that you'll be learning, and the fifth one is a combination, can be a combination of any two or three or more than one basically. So first one is a linear equation, where if you see you have just x. Normally if you use an exponent in an equation for the variable, then that's called the degree of the equation. So if the degree of the equation is 1, then that's called a linear equation. Now we have just one linear equation over here. We can have 2 linear equations also. For example, this can be 3x plus 4y is equals to 7. So this can also be considered as a linear equation because over here the degree is 1. Now when it comes to quadratic equation, the degree should be 2. And when it comes to the graph of linear equations, you will get a straight line. When it comes to graph of a quadratic equation with two variables, that means if I equate this to y, then I will be getting a parabola which is open upwards or downwards. Then comes rational equation in which you will have negative exponents of x. So when I say negative exponent of x, I am assuming you already know about this. If you don't know about this, do let me know in the comment section. And also, if you feel like there is some other explanation that you need, do ask your doubts in the comment section. Now next part is exponential equation. See, if you are writing x to the power 3 or if you are writing 3 to the power x. Now one of them is an arithmetic function, one of them is a exponential function. Now if you equate this to some constant, then that's called an equation. So now you need to see the position of the variable. Over here if you see, the position of the variable is at the base, but if you see over here, the position is at the exponent. So if the position of the variable is at the exponent, then that's called an exponential equation. Then comes systems of equations. So when you say systems of equation, like I told you before, there will be multiple number of equations which you got to consider at once. So whenever you have more than one equation, there will be more than one variable. Depending upon how many equations are there, you will be having that many variables, and those equations can be solved to find the values of those variables. Now next part is how can you solve equations. So first step is isolate the variables. Means, let's say for example, if I have 3x plus 9 is equals to 4x minus 7. So now you got to write variables at one side, which is 3x minus 4x, which is equals to minus 7 minus 9. So if you have 3x minus 4x, this will be just minus x, which is equals to minus 16, or you can say x is equals to 16. Alright, so this is something we call isolating the variables. Now again over here I am assuming that you already know how to move values from one side of the equation to the other side of the equation. I am assuming that you already know that. If you don't know, do write in the comment. I will be making video on that as well. That's a part of the basics. But at this point, if you are unable to understand how to do this, or if you don't know how to do this, or if you are struggling in doing this, in all those cases, do let me know. And right now over here, if you see, the sign of the number is getting changed. So the sign also doesn't get changed all the time. It changes sometimes. Sometimes it remains the same. All those things you can find in that video. So now when it comes to linear equation, you can just isolate the variables and then you can solve. All you need to do is find the value of x. See, solving means finding the value of x. That's it. Then comes quadratic equation. When it comes to a quadratic equation, there are two methods mainly. First one is you can split the middle term. Second one is you can use the quadratic formula. Now this part I am just keeping it for a moment. You can just see how can you solve it. Alright. Now in case of quadratic equation, if it's a simple one, you can just take a common value by using distributive property, or after that whatever value you are getting, you can just substitute that value to verify in the equation. Now next part is quadratic equations. Like I told you, you can always split the middle term to get the values of x, or you can complete the square method. See, when it comes to completing the square method, there are two ways. Completing the square method itself will take one complete video. So here we are not discussing it. You can just refer to the example which is given. When it comes to explaining quadratic equation, clearly I'll explain how factorization can be done, or how completing the square method can be applied, or how quadratic formula can be used. Alright, now quadratic formula, as you can see, it's minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. And over here, all you need to do is substitute the values of a, b and c. Now you need to be careful about one thing, that if you say a, then it's ax square plus bx plus c. So when you say x square plus bx plus c, the coefficient of x square is a, coefficient of x is b, and the constant is c. Now you can just substitute those values and find the answer. Now just one thing, if you see all these different values, you are going to get two values or one value or no value. So you are getting two different values because of this b square minus 4ac. If you are getting one value, that means this should be equal to 0. If you are getting no values, that means this should be less than 0. As it becomes negative, you won't be able to find square root of a negative number. Why? That also I have explained. Now next part is, when you have equations where the variable is at the denominator, in that, let's say 1 by x is a variable, consider 1 by x as a single variable and find the value of 1 by x, then take the reciprocal. That's all you need to do. So for now, there is just a variable with degree minus 1. Next part is exponential function. Exponential function, you got to, the basis has to be same. If the bases are same, then only you'll be able to compare the exponents. That's it. Then comes system of equations. System of equation is mainly applied when there are more than one variable. Basically, you'll be learning about two variables. Then there are three methods: substitution, elimination, and graphing. There is one more method also, which is called cross multiplication. Now this cross multiplication you will be learning in the videos for solving system of linear equations. Alright. Now when it comes to what kind of error you might make, incorrect distribution. So when you are distributing, be careful with the signs and with what number you are multiplying. You got to be careful with that. Next part is, any number divided by 0 is not defined. Normally we take that as 0, but it's actually not defined. Now be careful with the signs. And finally, always check the solution. Don't move away, don't move further without checking the solution. Then comes manipulating equation. See, in an equation, if you see, then these values are same. They are not different values. They are the same values. So as the values are same, if you are adding something on the left hand side, say for example, if I am writing x is equals to 3, so value of x is 3. So if I am adding 2 to x, then this should be equals to 5. Just use your common sense. So that means whatever you are doing with the left hand side, you got to do the same thing with the right hand side. Same you can do for multiplication, for division. Alright. So over here, this was just a brief introduction about the equations, different types of equations. Alright. More precisely, for each and every part of the equation, we'll be learning in individual videos. But before you can get into different types of equation, first you must understand what exactly an equation is. If possible, take a note of this stuff so that you can refer later. That's it. Thank you. So if you like the video, if you have learned anything, do share this. Do share this with anyone. Let others also learn. Alright. Now this is just a 15-minute video. In 15-minute video, you'll have a clear idea about what exactly equations are. Alright. Okay, that's it for this video. Now wait for the next video. Alright. Yeah. Thank you.